So, the brand new Monolith's Fall raid just came out for Destiny Rising. Now, you might be asking yourself, wait, Destiny Rising has raids? Yes, it does. This one's called Monolith's Fall. It just launched. It's quite difficult today, but tomorrow when the level cap is raised, it will be significantly easier. So I thought I'd go ahead and try to get out a guide on how to do it. I'll have timestamps to the 3 encounters down below. First, we're going to talk about the setup of the raid, what team composition, and that sort of thing. So first off, you can find the raid by going to Gauntlet Onslaught. That's how they're sort of classifying their raids in Destiny Rising. And what's really interesting is even though it is a complete experience, it is broken up into different activities by the encounter numbers. So there are 3 encounters. There's Break-In. The second encounter is called the Menace Above. The third one is Issakis Tabernakle. But you can like farm them. You can like do them in any order. You can just do one over and over again. And what's really cool is every single one has its own unique loot. And every single one has its own unique exotic. So Break-In has this guy, the auto crossbow, the Mahai Mayuri. The Menace Above has the Octant Riot Disperser, the shotgun. And then the Tabernacle has this machine gun. Those are exclusive to those encounters. So we can go through each of the encounters. First off, though, what should your team comp be? It is going to be significantly easier in the coming days. We had a very comfortable 2-phase under the day 1 conditions, capped to level 50. All of our teammates were about 30,000 light or so, or power. We ran 2 Kabirs, 2 Gwins, 2 Tans for most of it. One of the encounters, I think the second encounter, we actually had 2 Kabirs, 2 Gwins, 1 Tan, and 1 Wolf, maybe. This is going to be super easy. I'm sure as long as you have like 1 Tan and a couple of Gwins for ad control and like a Kabir for the shield, it's going to be super free. I wouldn't worry too much about the setup. A lot of your damage is going to be coming from Gwyn shotgun, Tan sniper rifles, if you could get like Izzy's or the Octant Disperser or those sorts of things anyways. So that's what, or Kabir's pulse rifles as well, the Furies. So that's what I was using. I was on Kabir for all 3 encounters. I'm sure this is going to be so free, and you really just need to know the mechanics. So let's go ahead and get into that. So the first encounter is called Break-In. This one is kind of like the bridge encounter in Crota's End. If you have played the Destiny or Destiny 2 version of that encounter or that raid, it's very simple in premise. There's a bridge in the center. You have to work together to move people across in pairs until all such people are across. But let's talk about how this version of the encounter works. You're going to load in. I recommend clearing out absolutely everything. As you are killing a bunch of the enemies on this side, you're going to notice that there are 2 captains, one on the left and one on the right. And when you kill them, they will drop a key. The people that pick up these 2 keys are the first 2 going over to the other side. So I recommend having characters go over that are good at ad control, such as Kabir. So we pick up the keys, you finish clearing all the enemies. Then on either side of the bridge, on the left or right, there's a little plate. And once again, you need to have at least 1 person stand on these. Those people cannot be the ones that have the keys. So once people are on those plates, the bridge will start forming in the center. The 2 people with the keys can go through the barrier and start walking across the bridge to the other side. When those people are on the other side, they need to kill all the ads. And on the left and right of the room, there will be 2 Scorch Cannon Vandals. You need to focus 1, kill it, go inside, pick up the Scorch Cannon, and break one of the fuses on the back end of the room. When that happens, that is like 1 of 3 phases. It's pretty fast, it's pretty simple, but then you just start over. So the 2 people that are on the far side, they just need to survive, kill ads, all that sort of stuff. And then everyone that's still back in the starting area before the bridge, they need to do everything again. They need to kill the ads, they need to kill the 2 captains, pick up the 2 keys, stand on the 2 plates, and send 2 more people over. Once those 2 people come over, once again, you break another fuse with a Scorch Cannon, and then you have to work together to get the final 2 people over. Those final 2 people will pick up a key on their side. They'll kill 2 captains, pick up 2 keys. And then instead of standing on plates before the bridge, you'll now have to stand on 2 plates after the bridge. So the team of 4 on the far side of the bridge, 2 of them will have to stand on the plates on the left and right of the bridge. It will start to build, and you can get your final 2 fire team members over. Kill the last Scorch Cannon Vandal, kill the last fuse, and then clear out all of the enemies to complete this encounter. After that, we can move to the second encounter. This one's a little more complex. This one is called the Menace Above. You're going to start the encounter, and when you walk into the next room, there's going to be a giant TV screen. Now, the symbol on this TV screen is the main mechanic for this encounter. This is essentially a combination of 2 of the symbols to the monitors to your left. So you can see in this screenshot on screen, I have a circle on the outside and then like the little fallen symbol that's 4 smaller circles on the inside. I need to look over to the 4 screens on the left and activate the 2 that specifically have those symbols that make this larger symbol. And the door opens. If you pick the wrong monitor, I believe it will just flat out kill you, like you'll just die. So don't do that. Then you guys can all go down an elevator or jump over the ledge, and you have to start to clear a bunch of enemies around this central area. You have essentially a circular hallway that you're just killing a bunch of enemies, and there will be 2 teleporters. These 2 teleporters, only 1 person can go in each, and they will be alone for a while. So once again, make sure it's someone with a little bit of survivability, a little bit of ad clear. Once again, I recommend Kabir for this sort of role. I think he is the perfect type of character for this, but really once the power level cap is raised, I'm sure this will be very easy and you can do it with pretty much anyone. So the person that goes into and through the teleporter will be in a room, and they will have to kill a servitor, and you just have to melt it. And when that happens, once again, a logo will pop up on the screen in the back of the room, and you have to find 2 symbols on the screens behind you that make that bigger logo on that big screen. When you do that, your symbol will then be passed to the people who did not go in the teleporter. So 2 people went in the teleporters, they killed both their servitors, 2 big logos, they found the 2 smaller symbols that made those larger logos or symbols. And then the people on the outside will have 2 symbols that they also have to make using the smaller screens. So total, there will be 4 big symbols and 4 sets of 4 screens that you have to find the 2 smaller symbols that makes the bigger symbols. It sounds kind of complex. It's actually fairly straightforward once you start running the encounter. When that happens, 2 people from outside will be teleported in the left teleporter room, 2 will be teleported in the right, and so now you'll be split into 2 teams of 3. So you're kind of split encounter, and now what you have to do is take a fuse and dunk it to activate an elevator. Kill all of the ads. One of the vandals will drop a Scorch Cannon, use them to break all of the fuses in the center of the room that will deactivate the shield around another fuse. 1 player can pick this up, and the really cool thing about this artifact is it can block the lightning gates around the room. So normally there are these lightning gates. If you walk into them, you will die. However, when you're holding the fuse, it creates a protective bubble around you, and you can walk through the lightning gates and allow your teammates to walk through them as well. So you need to walk very strategically, clearing out ads, holding the fuse, making your way through these gates through a series of rooms. Now, periodically, you'll come across these little servitors on the wall called overseers, and they will blast you with the giant beam. If you wait too long, they will detain you, you'll take damage, you'll die, etc., etc. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for these overseers, and you are killing them as soon as you see them. Keep making your way through the room. Eventually, you'll come to a room with a giant Shinka or champion Shank. You'll have to blast it down, go ahead, kill it. More vandals will spawn holding Scorch Cannons. Kill one of them, take the Scorch Cannon, blow up the fuses, and this will allow you to continue on. You have about 2 minutes to do this entire section. As you are walking, you'll have to block more lightning gates, protect your teammates. There will finally be a teleporter that you make your way to. You teleport back to this front room, there will be a symbol, and both people will dunk their fuses. And that is phase 1 out of 2. You have to do that entire thing over again, send people off to get teleported, do a bunch of ad clear, the 4 screens with the big logos and then the 2 smaller logos that make that one. When you do all of that, you'll be split into 2 teams of 3 again. Add clear scorch cannons, fuse, protect your teammates from the lightning gates all the way through. And then when you finally dunk the final 2 fuses, the elevator will be available and you have completed the encounter and you can go claim your loot. The final encounter is called Issakis Tabernakle. This is a giant spider tank that does a lot of jumping and will absolutely mess you up. This is the only DPS encounter in the entire raid, and once again, you're really going to be doing a lot of this damage using like pulse rifles, the Furies, or like your sniper rifles on Tan, or your shotguns on Gwyn, like that sort of stuff. High DPS weapons that you would expect in a game like this. When you load in, you're going to walk down a hallway, you're going to drop down, and then the spider tank is going to like say a bunch of mean stuff to you and try to kill you. I recommend standing on the right side, clearing all the ads, moving over to the left side. You need to clear all these ads before the spider tank decides to do a little bit of hopscotch and hop over to the left side of the arena. When the tank is here, a bunch of enemies are going to spawn, and the tank periodically is going to shoot out these electricity walls. You need to jump over these walls. Now, in the first phase, you can actually just stand on like the little stage on the side or the boxes, and they'll just miss you because they're so low. But later in the fight, they'll be high, and you'll actually have to jump over them. We'll go over that again when we get there, but make sure you are jumping up, dodging the electric walls, killing all the enemies. Some of the enemies will be 2 Scorch Cannon Vandals. You will kill them, take the Scorch Cannon, and break the giant electricity pillars on the left and right side of the spider tank. When you do that correctly, the spider tank will jump over to the far side of the arena, and you'll have to do the same exact thing again. Jump, dodge the walls, kill enemies, get your Scorch Cannon, break the 2 columns. When this happens, you are almost ready for DPS. There is one more mechanic that you have to do. A bunch more enemies are going to spawn. Make sure you kill all of them. A pair of impact Shinkas will also spawn. When you kill one, it will activate a teleporter. Now, this is where strategies are going to differ a little bit. Because of the difficulty and the number of ads, in my group, what we were doing is I was going in through the teleporter, and then I was doing essentially 2 people's jobs. How it's supposed to work is there are 2 champions, and when you kill them, there is a teleporter on the left side of the room and a teleporter on the right side of the room, and you send 1 person in each. You can do either one, and then the people in the center room, in the main boss room, just stay alive. There's going to be overseers, there's going to be bombs falling from the sky. Just make sure you are staying alive and killing ads whenever you can. The 2 or 1 people that teleported into the other rooms have a very similar job as in the second encounter. A giant servitor is going to spawn, and when you kill it, there will be a giant TV that turns on behind it. However, instead of a giant symbol, you will see a diagram of the boss. This diagram will have a red spot lit up. It will either be one of the boss's front hands, a spot on the boss's back, or the gun on the very top of it. I recommend making callouts based off of the perspective of the boss. So you can see like in this footage, I see the boss's left hand is glowing, so I call that out. The person that teleported on the left and the person that teleported on the right are going to see 2 different spots. They need to communicate that to their team back in the main room, and they need to destroy these specific spots to start the DPS phase. If they destroy the wrong spot, it is an immediate wipe, and if you take too long, it is an immediate wipe. Now, it's also really cool, this system that the NetEase team has made. There is a dedicated, like, unique custom ping for this. So if you look at the screen and you hold the ping button, it will pull up a couple of options, and you can actually make the specific call out if you're not in a VC, which is pretty cool. So once these callouts are made, the people outside in the main boss room now have to destroy the corresponding spot on the boss. So in the footage, you can see we are shooting the back right of the boss. There's a glowing red spot. That's because someone in the room told us to destroy that spot. When both of the correct parts are destroyed, you'll be teleported back to the main room, and then it is time for DPS. Plant a well from Tan right in front of the boss and just start absolutely unloading on him. I don't know the exact time of the damage phase. I would guess somewhere in like the 20-second range, somewhere there, plus or minus 5 seconds. Make sure you're using your supers, your best weapons, your abilities, etc., stacking buffs, that sort of thing. When this is over, it will go into another phase and you have to run it again. This phase is pretty much the same with a couple of slight differences. So the electric walls, when the boss does his jumping spider thing, will be higher. So you can't stand on the boxes. You actually have to physically jump. Make sure you're doing that. You don't want to die this late into the fight. And then when you are making callouts later in the fight, instead of the hands, the back spots, and the gun on the top, they'll actually be switched to one of the boss's 6 legs. So we usually say front, right, front, left, middle, or back, right or left. So just make sure you are paying attention to the different parts that you have to break in the second part of this fight. Should be a very easy 2 phase if you have any sort of leveled team. But yeah, when you beat the boss, the chest will spawn, you can get your loot, and you will have beaten the Monolith's Fall raid. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any more questions or comments or suggestions, make sure you leave them down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. I love your faces. I'll see you very soon, and have a great night.